Hello, I'm Stefan with Real Fitness Coaching, and in this video we're going for a foundational movement workout. Now this is going to be great for you if you're just starting out in exercise and you're really not sure what sort of level of movement capability you have, or if you've not worked out for a long time and you're getting your body reacquainted with exercise. This can be great movement if you're between workouts, maybe higher intensity workouts, but again this is really designed for people just starting out or starting back. This is going to be a combination of stretches and movements, foundational movements that really get your body, get you connected with your body, how it moves, all the joints in the body from the ankles, knees, and so on, up through the hips, the spine, up to the shoulders as well, and really gets you in touch with how the body can move and what areas you may need to work on going forward. We're going to start off with our warm-up. We're going to start off with hands on hips, feet apart that hip width, and we're going into some hip circles. And it's just taking the hips out and around in these big circular movements and just feeling for what the hips have got in store for you today. So the hips, the lower back, then down toward the knees, that's our sort of fulcrum, our linchpin between the lower body and the upper body. We want to make sure that we're in touch with that movement. We know where the sort of restrictions are, if there are any, what areas are tight, whether it's the hip joint or muscles, and just spend some time really making sure the hips, low back, everything above and below depend upon those joints, it's working well and we're ready to work. So we're going to change direction now, hips going back the other way. Notice how I'm moving, I'm staying dynamic on my feet, I'm able to move, I'm letting the feet rock from side to side. So not necessarily gluing the feet to the floor, just staying nice and balanced. I'm going to draw my navel in, my belly button in toward my spine to gently activate my core and just think generally about how balanced and stable I am and how I feel while going through these movements. All right, one more circle. Perfect. From here, I'm going to bring my hands out to one side and then come across. Okay, I'm going to go into a rotation, a horizontal rotation, I call this one, and just pivoting on the ball of the toe on the back foot, letting my body rotate through, staying nice and tall, and letting the arms add a little bit extra twist through my body, through my hips, through my spine, nice and tall, lifting the chest, and I'm opening everything up at the front, decompressing my spine, and just getting some movement through the whole body, ankles, knees, hips, the rib cage, and up into the upper body as well. Perfect. All right, from here, we're going to go feet a little bit wider than hip width. One hand is going to reach up, and then the other hand is going to reach down, nice and slow as I switch from side to side. Now as I reach up one hand and reach down with the other, it's going to get a nice strong stretch down the side of the body on that lengthening side. And that can be from the shoulders through the lats, a big muscle in the upper body, under the arm, the lats, or even the intercostals between the ribs and even down into that space between the lower ribs and the hips. Okay, I can push the hips out a little bit more, side to side, just to get a little bit of extra movement there. Don't push it too far. If there's any stiffness there, just go up to what feels comfortable for you. And take my hands up, I'm going to go into a low to high rotation. Okay, so similar to that horizontal rotation, I'm just going to let my feet turn in the same way. Not really bending my knees too much, but just leaning down as if to look at the floor as I bring my hands past maybe hip to knee height. Just let the breathing fall into a comfortable pattern to you. I tend to breathe out on the way up with these, in on the way down. Again, don't get too bogged down with the breathing, just think about this movement. One more, and then we're going to change to the other side. Up, and then down. Turning through the body again, staying balanced and stable. Might look simple, but as we transition our weight from foot to foot, as we shift from left to right, we want to make sure that we've got good control and we're stable whilst we move. Good. Nice and tall at the top. Really open everything up. And just as far around as is comfortable. Perfect. From here, I'm going to go sideways on. I'm going to bring my hands down and behind, and then up overhead. Call this a ski jumper or a pendulum swing. Quite common to feel some little pops and clicks as the body moves. Again, breathing out on the way up. Just staying balanced, essentially a squatting movement, but I'm hinging more. I'm dropping my upper body toward the floor. Still keeping a proud posture, my chest up, shoulders back. And that hinge allows me to put my weight into my heels, so I'm balanced, and takes pressure off of the knees. Couple more. Nice and slow, still at this point, not going too fast at all. And very good. All right, from here, going to go into a wide stance, turning my feet out. I'm just going to reach over to one side, turn my body, reach over to the other side. So I'm allowing one knee to stay straight and one to bend as I reach over to that side. Just allowing a little bit of turn through the body, and I'm getting used to this side lunging type movement. Weight into my heels, keeping my knees nice and wide, and not too fast. Again, just seeing how the body feels warming up through these movements. Still keeping the heart rate not too high, but getting it working just a little bit. All right, one more. Excellent. From here, I'm going to bring my feet back to the center. Turning once again, stepping forward with one foot, just a small step, bend the rear knee, and bring the hands down. Now, if you can go to the floor, that's fine. If not, just as low as you can, and then step to the other side. Bending that rear knee, down, and then come up. I'm going to do a few more of these. So we can do this in a slightly sweeping movement now. So you can blend the movement as we go down. Good. So we're getting a stretch through the straight leg, the back of the straight leg, the hamstring. Keep a certain distance between the feet widthways so that you feel stable and balanced. Good. Down. Looking at the same spot roughly in front of you, so you're not sort of looking up to the horizon. You get this sort of off balance or feeling any dizziness. Okay, perfect. Good. As we come to standing again, we're going to bring one hand up, turn through the body, looking behind us. Same again on this side. Thumb up, turn the palm, thumb up on the way down. And that's 2. Going for 3 more, going for 5 on each side. Turn the palm and around. Good. Nice and tall. Big sweeping movement here. And the last one. Up. Reach high. Turn as if to look behind you and onto the other side. 1. Breathing in. And around. Again, thumb up. Turn the palm, thumb up on the way down. So we're really opening up through the shoulder and the chest as we come around. 2 more. Turn. Imagine there's a wall quite close to you and you're trying not to bump your hand against the wall. Okay. And perfect. And then we're going to roll the shoulders around to finish low to high. Front to back. Good. Excellent. All right, so our first exercise. I'm going to time these, going for 45 seconds for each exercise. Going with a wide stance. Feet turned out, weight into the heels. We're going to turn the hands, palms up, and we're going to side lunge, a little bit like we did in our warm-up. From one side to the other, getting that stretch through the inner thighs. Now, just as far as is comfortable for you, off we go. Nice and controlled. And turning to look in the direction that you're reaching, leaning towards. Again, those knees nice and wide. Just as low, just as far into that stretch, into that lunging movement as is right for you, for the ankles and for the knees. Good. Nice and tall. through the upper body, long through the neck and the shoulders. Don't want to bunch the shoulders up towards the ears, but stay tall. Stretch down and long through the upper body. Last 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Okay. From here, we're going into our pendulum swing. Again, we did this in our warm-up. Feet a comfortable distance apart, about hip width. And then from here, I'm going to bring my hands down and up. You can build a little bit more pace this time. 3, 2, 1. Off we go. Weight into the heels. Getting that balance first and foremost. Hinging at the hips, so we're not rounding. Staying tall, a proud posture, a long straight line from head through to hips. Just as deep into that movement as is comfortable. You're going to feel that stretch through the hamstrings and through the glutes as they work and stretch nice and tall. Again, just go as far as is comfortable with the shoulders, but you're really trying to lift up. Draw the shoulders back. And 2, 1. Excellent. All right. So with this next one, we're going to go with our feet a bit wider than hip width, quite a bit wider than hip width. I'm going to turn my feet to about 45 degrees. This is a windmill. My rear foot, my hand is going to go up. Lead hand is going to go down against the leg for balance and come down just as far as possible. And then reaching up. We're going to do that all the way on that side, 45 degrees. Then we'll change, same thing on the other side. Down and coming up again. 45 seconds each side. Off we go. Get that stance and down. Now this is going to give you a strong stretch on the inner thigh of the lead leg, as well as the side of the body into the lower back on the up-facing part of the body. Now we're looking to try and turn the body so that we can get a better view and look more clearly at the ceiling. The last 10 seconds, it's that turn of the body that's going to get more of a stretch through that inner thigh, through the lower back, and even the shoulder and chest. Excellent. I'm going to go on to the other side. Same thing again. Off we go. Stance, the mirror of what we did in our first side. Just as low. Again, that arm against the leg for balance. And breathing out on the way up. But don't get, again, too bogged down into the breathing. And the pace as well. What is comfortable for you? We're stretching, we're moving. Again, just getting acquainted, just getting in touch with the hips, the ankles, the core, the shoulders, all of these moving parts. Very, very good. Going to take a short pause. I'm going to repeat those exercises again a second and then a third time, each time getting a little bit of a pause. So, just to recap, we have our wide stance, side reach with the palms facing up is our first exercise. From there we have our pendulum swings, down and up. Again, if you want to, you can increase the tempo a little bit this time. And then finally we have our windmill stretch. So feet maybe a little bit wider this time, perhaps if they were narrow before. You've got a feel for what is right for you for that distance. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. So our wide stance reaches. Looking over in the direction of the upward turn palm. And seeing again, if you can, just increase the distance between the feet and the distance across that you reach and the depth that you go into that side lunging position. Weight into the heels and knees nice and wide. Looking to try, if you can, to keep that Rear leg straight. Get that stretch through the inner thigh. Up and over. Up and over. One more reach this side. Good. Excellent. So from here, our pendulum swing, sideways on for you again for that ankle. Off we go. Feet apart, a comfortable spacing. And hinging at the hips. Bending the knees. The ankles just as low as is comfortable for you. Staying long through the neck and the shoulders, open through chest and the shoulders. Now you can see I'm slightly pointing my thumbs back behind as I get to the top. You can still keep the palms forward facing if you prefer. Last 3, 2, 1. Excellent. All right, and again into our windmill stretch. So the feet a bit wider than hip width, turn to one side, off we go. Reaching up, down, arm against the leg. And that will give you that extra bit of confidence and balance and stability. Again, if you're not going down as low as this, then that's fine, just go as far as you can. If there's any issues with the shoulder, you can bring the hand to the hip instead, or you can even bring the hand across. But you're looking to turn the body as much as you can to get that stretch through that inner thigh and down the lateral fascia, the side of the body into the hip. Okay, very good. Turning to the other side. Get that position with your feet, and off we go. Reaching up, down, and up. Good. Again, stay open through the upper body, through that chest and shoulder as you can. Giving you that extra balance against the leg. If you can, fingertips down toward the floor. And then back up, nice and tall at the top. Keeping that balance. Turn the body. And one more to go now. Good. Very good. Once again, we'll take a little pause. This is our third round through that sequence, through that combination of exercises. Hopefully now, having done a second round, you'll feel more familiar with what's coming up this third time. And again, you're getting more in touch with those different areas of the body. Again, the core, through into the hips, down into the feet, and so on through the upper body as well, staying open where we can through the shoulders. All right, starting off with our wide stance side reaches to begin. So bring the feet apart. Again, test that range if you can. Off we go. Palms up. Reaching from side to side. If you can, go a little bit further, like you're trying to touch the wall. A little bit of turn through the feet is okay as well. A slight pivot. Keep those knees wide again, just as much as you can, stretching through the inner thighs. And loading up into the glutes, the quads and the hamstrings, those lower body muscles, the leg and the hip muscles, as well as creating that stability. Long and tall with that reach again. Shoulders and arms working from this position. Very good. Okay, once again, pendulum swing. Giving you that angle so you can see the hinge. Off we go. Now let's see if we can get a faster pace. Just what's right for you. Adding that breathing, that powerful upward motion with the exhale. Good. Getting that warmth into the body, getting that heart rate up just a little bit more. 10 seconds more now. Doing well. Hinging at the hips, weight into the heels. Staying balanced. Good. Alright, and from here, widen hip width stance, turning the feet over 45 degrees, and off we go. One hand reaching up. The lead hand, the front hand reaching down, and that turn of the body. Turning as we go. And you can push against the leg with the back of the arm that's reaching down to push. Open up even more if it's possible, if it's comfortable. And getting that stretch, the more we turn into the lower back and side of the body. Okay, one more. 3, 2, 1. Good, excellent. And then from there we're going to change the other side and off we go. Reaching up, down. Breathing in time with the movements of the body. If it's slower than my pace, that's absolutely fine. Let's get that feel for what is right for you. 15 seconds more. Feeling that stretch. And feeling those muscles working. Just the right intensity. And there we go. Perfect. Again, we'll have a little pause. We've got another combination, which we'll visit again 3 times over. The first movement, I'll go through that now. The first movement is going to be a rainbow squat. What's going to be is with the feet a little bit wider than hip width, we're going to sit into a squat, but we're going to bring the hands outside to try and touch the lower leg, the ankle, or maybe the outside of the shin, or if the range of movement is challenging, then the knee. Turning through the body as we go. Weight into those heels, up and over. Alright, our second movement is going to be a hinge to overhead reach. Weight into the heels, feet a comfortable distance apart as we bring the hips back and push the hands forward as far as you can, stretching out, nice proud posture, getting the hamstrings and the muscles in the upper back working. Then we're going with an alternate forward step and return. Standing tall, we're going to go both sides. One, reach, and then the other. Take that step and stand tall. Okay, 45 seconds for each of these. Starting off with our rainbow squat. Off we go. Feet wider than hip width. Sitting down, up and over, and repeat. Just as low as you can, sending your weight into the heels. Now, if you can get the hips lower, then do so. But if there's a bit more, reach down towards the floor by hinging at the hips, leaning the body forward, then that's okay. We're getting that rotation through the midsection. We're keeping those heels flat to the floor. Try not to get any lift of the heels, and just go down as far as is comfortable for you. Alright, very good. So our hinge to overhead reach. Feet maybe a similar distance apart to that last move, and then hands reaching forwards as the hips go down. We're getting a strong stretch through the hamstrings, and again working those upper back postural muscles. Off we go. Follow me through this one. Reaching overhead, and then coming up nice and tall. Down once again, hips back, weight into the heels, keeping those hands high as the upper body comes down towards the floor. Working those shoulders and upper back muscles to keep those arms back, keep them up. And you can have the hands holding or just side by side, as you prefer. Nice and tall, really getting a stretch into those hamstrings and down to the calves as well. Excellent. All right, from this sideways on position, once again, our forward stepping lunge, alternating sides. Now it doesn't have to be too long a stretch to begin, too long a step. Okay, off we go. And you can start off reaching more chest high or down towards the floor. That's going to make it more challenging. It's going to be more work to come back up from reaching low. Now you can take this slow. Okay, get a nice comfortable pace. Balancing, we're getting a good connection through that stepping foot, that lead foot, the step and return. Stability and balance, core engaged, drawing that navel in toward the spine, taking out the impact from that step, so not going too fast to begin. Excellent. Okay, taking a short pause and then we'll go a second time. So again, we'll get more familiar with these as we go through a second and then a third time. The rainbow squat to begin, feet a bit wider than hip width, sitting the hips back, reaching high overhead, up and over. Our hinge to overhead reach, try and keep those legs just as straight as possible. And then our final movement is that forward step and return. More work the further you step to push yourself back. Okay, rainbow squat to begin. 45 seconds. Here we go. Down, up, and over. And working on that balance, on that control, on that stability. Feel the muscles in the feet as we're working, changing our body weight from left to right, right to left, how we have to adapt. The ankle, the foot, the knee, and the overall body weight position as well. Just as low as you can, twisting through the midsection, through the hips, and nice work. One more. Okay, a hinge to overhead reach. Feet apart, weight into those heels. Off we go. Reaching overhead, trying to get the upper body, if we can, parallel to the floor. Holding that position with the back, shoulders, the core, and the lower body. Reaching the arms out, and then using those muscles in the lower body to pull you back to that standing position. You're really trying to push those hips back and those hands forwards to stretch out. Deceptive this one. Take it slowly, really push, and we'll get one more in. Good. Excellent. So forward step and return. Stepping, reaching and coming back. Off we go. Alternate sides. Step, come back. Step, stability, control, and push back. The more you drive back up, the more you're going to work. So take it at a pace and indeed a range, a depth that is right for you. It doesn't need to be these long, deep steps. They can just be forward stepping and coming back. Go with what's right for you. Good. 10 seconds left now. And last couple. Breathing out as you push yourself back to standing. All right. So again, a little pause, and we'll go one more time through this final sequence. Breathe, have a little sip of water, And again, we're thinking, getting that connection between the body when we're stepping, getting that stability through the foot, through the ankle, the knee, up into the upper body, and range of movement as we sit into our squat. Not too far back, but we're getting the hip back and the weight into the heel. So our rainbow squat to begin. 45 seconds, off we go. Down, up and over, reaching towards the ankle if we can. And if you feel any kind of dizziness, by bringing the eyes up and over with the hands, just look forwards and then down to the foot, then straight away forwards to the wall in front and over to the other side. That should help. 20 seconds, just under 20 seconds left. Moving just as fast or slow as is right for you. Balanced, stable, connected, working the upper body and the lower body. Very good. Okay, so our hinge to reach. Again, feet apart. If the feet are narrower, there's going to be more of a stretch. Let's try that out. Off we go with a slightly narrower stance. And yes, we're going to feel more pulling, tensioning through the hamstrings, through the backs of the legs. Again, we're keeping that nice, proud posture, flat back, tilting the tailbone back and up so that we're not rounding the back, but rather keeping that flat back. Arms reaching forwards and the hips reaching, pushing back behind us. 15 seconds. Good. Breathing out as we come up. And last one now. Down we go. Stretch and come back up. Perfect. And finally our step and return. 3, 2, 1. Take the step, reach the hands forwards. Again, that extra little bit of reach, that extra little bit of work, that extra bit of balance that we need to create, the need to account for. And if you can, challenge that step range, that step distance just a little bit more. And pushing back. Good. Again, lower body working with this one, that step, hamstrings, glutes, quads, as well as the core, stabilizing that reach forwards, and well done indeed. Excellent work. So that's our 3 rounds of our second sequence done. That is our workout nearly finished. We're going to get into our cool down in just a moment. If you build up a little bit of a glow with that one, then by all means grab a little towel and have a brow mop or a little sip of water. And breathe. We're ready to go into our cool down now. We're going to start off our cool down in a similar fashion to our warm up. We go hands on hips. As we go into our hip circles, we're just feeling for any freer movement that we might be experiencing now. As we go out to maybe the outside edges of the hips, it's quite common that we get some tightness on that outside edge, an IT band, the glutes, or even the inner thigh, the groin, the adductors, quite a common area of tightness if we've not been moving for a while, or if we've been sat down today, maybe many days previous, but this one really getting a feel for how much more fluid back in the other direction and free that movement should hopefully feel. Nice big turn. You can use the hands to guide and even coax a little bit more movement from the hips and just as far out as is right for you. Good. One more big turn and excellent. Hands up into the air. We're going to turn and sweep a circle down, up and around. Now if you put your eyes on a point, a fixed point, a couple of meters in front of your feet on the floor. So again, you're not turning your head into in a big circle, but you're rather keeping your eyes fixed on the floor. That should help Stop you feeling any kind of dizziness or feeling off balance. Nice big turn. You can move the head around, the vision around if you want to, if it's comfortable to. From the top, we're going to go back in the other direction now. Back. And notice I'm not bending my knees too much. This isn't a squatting movement, this is rather getting that stretch through the back, through the hips, and that movement through the shoulders. Shifting the weight from foot to foot, just as it's comfortable to for you. Good. One more. Finishing off at the top. Excellent. Again, just as we did in our warm-up, we're going to go with a reach overhead. One hand reaching up. One hand reaching down. It's getting that side bend, that stretch all the way down from the fingertips, down to the hips, maybe even further down into the glutes as well, but certainly the lower back, that space between the hips, the pelvis and the lower ribs. And again, hopefully we're feeling freer movement now. We can reach farther overhead and get lower down as well than when we started. Perfect. Okay. Going into a wide stance like we did with our workouts. Feet turned out slightly, weight into those heels. We're going to reach our hands down just as far as they can go comfortably. If that's all the way down to the floor, to the toes, then great. I'm going to try and keep those knees straight. And slowly, we're just going to come up and go on to the other side. Again, just as low as you're able to. Just get a feel for those comfortable positions. Challenging, testing the flexibility, the stretch a little bit. But certainly within what's comfortable, with what's possible for you. Let the breathing settle down, come back to normal rhythmic pace. Good. Getting a good stretch on the outside of the backs of the legs. We're going to come up, bring those feet back into the midline again. So stepping forward, bending that rear knee, we're going to reach the hands down. We're going to linger in this position. And this is going to be more for straight on with the hamstring. And again, if it's not as low, that's fine. Maybe your fingers reach to the ankle or the top of the foot. If you can, nice and slowly coming up, switch. Just go as low as is right for you. Down, I'm going to hold that position. Just for a little bit more. And good. Nice and slowly coming back up. We're going to go now feet together, the same type of movement. Legs straight if we can, reaching those hands down. Again, just as far as you're able to go. Thinking in your mind, gently tilting the tailbone back and up to bringing that stronger stretch down the backs of the legs as well. Good. Slowly coming up. From here we're going to roll the shoulders round like we did again at the end of our warm-up. Low to high, front to back. Nice big movements with those shoulders. One more. And finish. Fantastic work. Well done indeed. Well done for following me through that workout. Once again, this sequence was designed to get you more in touch with your body, feeling for how the joints, how the muscles respond. These movements are very foundational. They're very key to how our bodies move. but again, we're able to get a bit of a workout in there whilst getting reacquainted, getting those movements in, getting some flexibility, some mobility, and also getting the body working a little bit as well. Thank you so much for joining me in this workout. I will see you for another fantastic workout very soon.